Nimble with numbers here. Hope you are doing well. Welcome to the DFS Money Shot. I am so excited to have with me today a hero of mine in a few senses. One, in fantasy football, but then as an educator, I got to tell you, anybody who can deal with anybody outside of elementary school in education is a hero to me. And so I have none other than John Laub on today. He is the gridiron scholar in life and in fantasy football. He is an educator and a teacher. So without further ado, Mr. John Laub, welcome, sir. So excited to have you on today.
Oh, I'm pumped. You know what? I feel like how Harry Truman must have felt the morning in 1948. Remember, he goes to bed and they say Dewey's won. And I always think about what it must have been like. Sir, you've lost the election. And then all of a sudden you wake up and someone informs you, guess what, Mr. President? You won. Like somewhere's along the line. That's how I feel. I'm with Scott, Nimble Numbers. We're putting together DFS lineups. I'm completely pumped. I am a history teacher, so obviously I'm excited about Harry S. Truman. It's election season, so I'm fired up about that. But this is great to be on a Saturday night. I have a beer. I can hang out with my man Scott, and here we are. We're putting together lineups.
I love it. So what are you drinking tonight on the DFS Money Shot?
So I'm kind of a IPA nerd, or maybe, I don't know, what's the other word, that snob, but I consider it a nerd. I like to sample local breweries in preferably Connecticut, sometimes a tri-state area. I mean, if I see something I like from the West Coast, of course I'll buy it. But tonight I have one from Wilcott, Connecticut. It's called Bullet Takes Flight. It's an IPA. Double IPA. I only drink double IPAs. I was always a beer guy, and I'm trying to think now, it must be 6 years. One of my best friends said, hey, I got this IPA. Do you want to try it? I'm telling you, dude, it was the nectar of the gods the first time I had it. I always liked beer. Don't get, obviously, right? I got German and Irish roots, and here I am with a big white belly. But then I just tried the IPA, dude. It was like a whole new world opened up to me, and I've been addicted ever since. So I have, like, in my office, in the garage, I have all my IPA beer cans. I keep one of everyone because I do like the artwork. It's kind of, and I like to support microbreweries. So I prefer that. So that's what I'm drinking tonight. It is Bullet Takes Flight. And I will say this, it's a good IPA. Sometimes you get bad ones, right? But that's okay.
Yeah.
You get 1 4-pack, you move on.
What about Lob the Snob? Is that out there?
Lob the IPA Snob.
IPA Snob. You drink with your pinky. You know what? I like it. I support the local too. So go back to Curtin. About 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, I went to live in the UK, and I went to all my locals, and it was a new pint, a different pint. It was outstanding. My mind, I love craft beer in America already, but it wasn't local. It was just, you had to buy like something from the West Coast or something. You had to get Dogfish Head. Oh, cool. Well, it's not local. It's Delaware. It's 4 hours from my house or whatever. It's whatever. So, but now, fast forward to 2015, even in Montgomery County, Maryland, where I live, there are microbreweries and breweries and farm breweries. And I mean, I love it. Like if you finally caught up with the rest of the world, drink local, support your microbreweries. I love it, John. I'm drinking a DeClaw pumpkin spice lager, 5.7%. I do like the double IPAs. The problem for me, man, I'm not a heavy hitter anymore. I drank so much in high school and then after college. I didn't drink in college. I was like, I'm taking college off because in high school, apparently, I was trying to set a record of who could be the fattest, drunkest guy in high school. And I thought that was like something to be commended for. And I was disappointed when I got third in the party animal at the end of the year. Like I just threw the ballots up. This is a farce. So, but I love the local too. We're gonna have a great time. I've got two bullets. Speaking of your big bullet, I've got two. So we're going to do it. You can find John on the Twitters. I have his Twitter page pulled up here if you're watching on Periscope. Please do check him out. He's podding all the time. He's a DFS guy. We wanted to mix it up here because we both come from a background of fantasy football, but then specializing in DFS. We do love DFS. It's one of the things that we share in common besides being educators. So let's talk about the format of the show. Each week, I challenge a head-to-head contest in DraftKings to a fantasy football DFS expert in the community. Here's what the record looks like so far.
Whoa.
Yes, I've had great opponents. Bo McBig Time. I've had FF Intervention, my man Chase. Anthony Servino is over here. Michael Hoff has been over here. We did a double up where I beat them both, which was nice. Mr. Kevin Tompkins beat me. Michael Reedy beat me as well, but last week I came back and I beat Space Ghost Force. So, each week we pick how much the contest is going to be. No one has picked over 50 yet. Most of the time it's 20. I think 20 is good. It's a fun amount too. If we lose it, it's not the end of the world. For me, it's really an opportunity to get to have a friend on who I mix it up with on Twitter all the time. We get to laugh, have beers, talk fantasy football, and kind of pick each other's brain. And I'm going to learn from you, and I'm going to take some of the guys that you play today. I'm going to incorporate them into my cash lineup tomorrow. I got a $100 double up I do every week, about 1,400 people in it. And it's a good baseline. You get around 145, you're cashing. So you know what? We can do that between our teams. I'm sure we'll be up there in the score. So without further ado, let's take a look. This is my template here, the DFS money shot. And of course I have your lovely picture. It's a dead ringer, by the way. And for people who don't know, this is Family Guy, correct?
Yeah. Someone mentioned I should do an avatar for Family Guy. I didn't even know they existed. And I think it was Derek Brown. I think it was him who was kind enough to say, try Family Guy avatar. I Googled it and I made one. So I thought it was cute.
I think it's perfect. I love it. Yeah. And so, there's me over there, those sunglasses, that's why they kind of became a staple. I can move away from it. I more have to have the sunglasses. Folks who don't know, we were talking, Chaucer and, Aristotle and U.S. history and Les Mis. We were talking all those kinds of things off air, and we were speaking in Latin. So, but we'll get there another time, for sure. So let's talk a little American, as they call it, DFS. And we're going to start off by going through our lineups, talking about the players we picked, juxtaposing them, talking about maybe who has the edge in the matchup. And at the end, we'll talk about where the point spread is, who's favored, what do we think? I don't know if my guy Bo McBig Time is going to be available. He normally sets the line. He is out on a honeymoon, anniversary type, getting back with the wife, camping trip.
How dare he?
I know. What in the world? What in the world? But we can set the line ourselves. We're capable men. All right, let's jump in. First thing is, we see that you have a little bit of money left over. I have no money left over. That's interesting, to say the least.
What do we have? 200, is it? 300.
We got 300. Yes, 300. Let's go down to our first quarterback. I love your quarterback. You have Russell Wilson. I have Josh Allen. Talk about Russell Wilson. What do you see in him this week and in this game? Because we both picked the same game.
So first, I like the over-under. That's the first thing that attracts me. And I've been watching football since 1977. And Russell Wilson right now is in the pantheon of what I consider a bucket that is Dan Marino, 1988, Kurt Warner, 1999, Tom Brady, 2007, Peyton Manning, 2013. He's in that bucket.
Yeah.
And these don't come around. So in my, what would that place it? 439. I can't even count that quick. So
a few decades.
Over 40 years. I'm talking four players. Now Russell Wilson. And I don't think the Bills are not the defense they were. The Seahawks somehow, if you look on it, if we were talking like 5 years ago, I would probably not want a West Coast team going east.
Yeah.
But if you look at the Seahawks stats, they've actually been pretty successful traveling for whatever reason. how the team deals with it, the coaching staff, Russell Wilson. So I'm not afraid of going from Seattle to Buffalo like I would have been 20 years ago. 2, Russ is cooking, and I hate to use that because but man, I look at these numbers. 28 points, 36 points, 25 points, 25 points, 39 points, 34, 30. I mean, his lowest output is 24.5 points. I mean, if that's my floor, and Scott, I'm an old man, anything can happen. He could go out in the first quarter, knock on wood. But if he plays, which he has had no inclination to get hurt, I'll take a 24-point floor. And I thought he was 7,900 2 weeks ago, 7,800 last week. He's 7,600. Right. I have to go in a cash game one-on-one. I have to go where I have the best floor with a ceiling that is still pretty amazing. That's why I got Russ.
No, I love it. And what I pulled up here is my DraftKings tool that I have on Nimble W numbers. And you see that production, 35, 34, 40, 25, 25, 36, 29. Like you said, I'm rounding a bit, but that's solid. And at 7,600, I mean, geez Louise, he's 500 less than Pat Mahomes. That's a deal. I love it. I know that smart guys like to stack. So I'm not living in a world where I know that there's no stacks coming. I'm assuming. Didn't look at it. I'm assuming. You can assume a stack is coming with me as well. I like to stack it up.
I would assume with Josh Allen and that crappy Seahawks secondary, but what do I know?
Who knows? Who knows? But I love your play. I went back with the other side of this game, and I ran back with Josh Allen. Russell Wilson was in my build originally, and the trash that I was putting in at the flex, I was just like, man, I'm going against John Laub here. I can't come, with some $2,500 Adam Shaheen trash or something. Like I can't do that. That's garbage. I had to build a stouter lineup, so I went and saved some money. I went Josh Allen. I like his rushing upside in this game. I know that Seattle hasn't done great against rushing quarterbacks. If you look at Kyler Murray, he had his signature performance this year against them. And I think rushing and passing, Josh Allen has dipped. His value has dipped. He hasn't played great, but I'm hoping for a rebound. That's for sure. And so that's where I'm at with Russell Wilson. I give you the edge so far. I'm going to give you, at least a 5-point edge. I like the play. Any thoughts on Josh Allen?
I like Josh Allen. Look, he's on my list. If you go to my sheet of knowledge, he is one of the options. I have 2 top shelf options, and he's the one. And look, he's home. It's the highest over under. And you're right. What makes him so appealing is clearly the rushing upside.
Yeah.
The only thing, so I'll say this. If Russell Wilson was like 20 or like 8,200, I might have gone to Josh Allen. But it's only a $600 difference. I know. And the floor is lower with Josh Allen. The ceilings are probably equivalent. Right. But the floor is lower. So I decided to lock in the floor of the 600.
Yeah. No, I like it. I'm putting you above me right now. And I had to open another beer. Just get through the rest of the show. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a man's man. I'm an educator. I can argue with the best of them. I can write a thesis for you. I can write a high school paper to help you graduate high school. Speaking of the president, I had a friend who, God rest his soul, he didn't make it, but he might have been the president one day. He had 1 day to graduate high school, and the teacher said, listen, you need to go write this paper on Bill Cosby. And he's like, all right. And this is back in the 90s. So this is 97. And he's like, all right, let's go drink some beers. Scott at the house, went over to his house, drank some beers. Yeah. And he's like, listen, I got this paper I need to write. It's important or I'm not going to graduate. I said, when does it due? He said, we got to drive it back to school in about, 2 hours. I said, we already started drinking beers. He goes, oh, don't worry. He's like, you write it, I'll get it there. I was like, okay, fine. So he went in to take a massive shit, and I wrote a Bill Cosby paper in the hallway in his room, and just drinking beers. Ed got a B-, and he graduated from high school. So long story short, this is not a B- production here. This is an A+. So yeah, we're just cut to the chase.
We ain't fooling around here, folks.
Nah. We're not skimping last second. Yeah. So let's talk about RB1s, and let's pull it down here, and let's see what we're working with. Ooh, we've got some fire. We've got some smoke. We've got some Dalvin Cook. It is no joke. I do like Dr. Seuss. It is true. What do you think about Dalvin Cook this week?
Look, it's the perfect matchup. Dalvin Cook is what we love. He's a 3-down back. He's the goal line back. He's the pass catching back. He's the home run hitter. I mean, he's got the offense coordinator, former Bronco coach. Why can't I remember? Kubiak's system.
Kubiak.
I mean, everything you're looking for when he's healthy. And he's healthy the majority of the time. But when Dalvin Cook is healthy, he's too good to pass up, my friend. Yeah. I mean, look, the last 4 games, just the last 4, he played 51, 20, 31, 29. I mean, and I'm not afraid of Matt Patricia and the Lions. I have no expectation that they can make a defensive game plan to stop Dalvin Cook. And what's the worst? 40 yards rushing, a touchdown, 8 receptions. I mean, come on. I'll say this. I mean, I played it against you, and I don't care in cash games how many people have them. I don't care if it's 60%. It doesn't matter. Let me beat the 40%, and I'll differentiate with the other 60%. It doesn't matter. When you have a player like this, you just play him. It doesn't deal with the other things later.
100%. Yep. This guy is a lock for my 50-50, double up tomorrow for sure. 100%. And here's the thing. He'll be in most people's lineups. And if he doesn't hit, my players, are going to be better that I picked after him than the players that you picked after him. So I'm going to be okay either way. That's kind of my thought in it. That's if you do your homework. I like it. Dalvin Cook going up against one of the worst run defenses in the league. I obviously they're going to scheme against him. Duh. I mean, God, they're going to bring people down. Kirk Cousins should have an opportunity. There is some value in GPP tournaments.
Yes.
Both of his wide receivers. Even Irv Smith price way down, or Kyle Rudolph way down. But in this game, cash game, trash. It's all Dalvin Cook. It's all Dalvin Cook for cash in this situation. We're in 100% agreement. Let's drop down to our RB number 2. Ooh, you have got a nice cherry on top. The real RB1, folks. If you didn't know, let me show you real quick on my tool here. It's just, you need to know this. Chase Edmonds has been, except for week 6, that's pretty much it. Go back to week 5. Yeah, he got him. He's been getting him. Week 7, he got him, and now for week number 9, he's definitely going to get him. So Chase Edmonds, I think, is the better of those 2 backs, to be honest with you. And so I know he's priced up a little bit. I like it a lot. Tell me what you see in him this week and why he's in your lineup.
One, I like the matchup against Miami, and I know narrative is not always the best way, but I've watched football long enough that the narrative does matter at times. So my narrative, and you may disagree, or any of our listeners, Miami just spectacularly beat crap out of the Rams at home.
Yep.
With a quarterback who's a rookie and was inefficient, and they're young. Well, what does that tell me? They're cocky and they're not right. So the narrative says everyone loves the Dolphins. They've been looking at the girls. They've been partying in Miami. They're feeling good. They're going to make the playoffs. The Patriots suck. You know what happens to those teams? They crash on the road.
Yeah.
Look it. I think Miami's going to have a letdown here. I really do.
Yeah.
Then the narrative on the other side. Arizona played a brilliant football game against Seattle. Scott, I don't like to stay up watching a game. I usually fall asleep halftime. We're teachers. I get up at 5:30. But
six. But yeah.
Yeah. When I get drawn in, I can't sleep. That Seattle Arizona game on Sunday night 2 weeks ago was unfreaking believable. So guess what? The Cardinals have already gone through the up and down last year. They're rising and they're learning how to win. They're learning how to compete.
Yeah.
I think this to me is a classic letdown for Miami. And watching football, the Dolphins are strong on the outside. Their corners are good. Well, how do you attack them? Center of the field. Short passes, screen passes, run the ball. Their linebackers are bad.
Yep.
I like Chase Edmonds here. I mean, and look at all the advanced metrics. If you look at him, he's so much better than Kenyon Drake. And the advanced metrics says my eyeballs see a better player.
Yeah.
That's what my eyeballs tell me. And then I go to the numbers, and guess what? They confirm it. Yep. So I'm all in.
No, I love it. I think it's a great play. And I'm going to incorporate more Chase Edmonds in my lineup. He was somebody who I was looking at, but I haven't built all my lineups yet. Let me peel back the curtain. I like to do a lot of this is part of my process to be able to learn and to grow and to, I read lots of things. I be able to interact with people in contexts of sharpening my understanding. So I like this a lot. And he was somebody I was thinking about. I'd heard about some things about him on the Fantasy Points podcast and different numbers. And you're kind of pushing me over the edge. I'm giving you a little bit of an edge too in this pick. I went a little value here with Justin Jackson after his performance last week. It looks like that San Diego is just going to be an efficient offense. They're going to get plays in. They're going to go fast. They're going to run the ball. They're going to throw the ball. Herbert is here to stay, folks. And I love it. I have Austin Eckler in my home league where I'm 7-1, and he's on the Austin Eckler shelved for the playoffs. I've got him hurt. He's on the IR. But right this week, Justin Jackson, 4,900. I feel like it's a real good value if he gets in the end zone against a porous Vegas defense. That gives me at least something to go against Chase Edmonds, because Chase Edmonds could be the 2 TD guy this week. I got that feeling. I don't like it. So I need to catch up with Justin Jackson. What do you think about him?
Well, I'm going to foreshadow. Can I talk about him later in the show?
Damn it. Yes, you can. Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, I'm good with it. It's fine. I mean, no, it's good. We're going to move on to wide receiver 1. Oh, man. I'm so glad you're on, man. This is great. From one teacher and just, fun guy to another. This is perfect. All right, here we go. Oh, the stacks.
I knew it.
Yep, the stacks have attacked. I love your play. You put Tyler Lockett with Russell Wilson, which to me is one of the number one stacks this week. I love it so much. Talk about Lockett over DK.
So I've been a DK. If you follow me on Twitter or anyone who's listening to me, I'm a DK guy all year. 2 weeks ago, I was wrong. I played DK. Lockett went off. But I said, John, don't fall for the trap. Whatever you do. All week, every impulse, every gut said, play Lockett. No, it's a DK day. So I had DK in my lineup last week, and I suffered 2 weeks ago, but man, did I bounce back. But that's not why I'm taking. There's no ping pong game of why they do. That's just the narrative.
Yeah.
I believe the Bills are going to put Tre'Davious White on DK. You would be committing coaching incompetence if you did not put your best corner on DK. Not only do you, and here's the thing, you have to either fade a linebacker to him, or you have to bring a safety on top.
Yeah, you have to.
You have to, or you're going to get blown out.
He runs a 4.33. Holy shit! I mean, goodness gosh.
So what does that tell me? Tyler Lockett is going to be in a more advantageous position if I think about the Bills' defense. And Russ, the Bills can attack the quarterback. They're not as good as last year defensively. Russ should get the ball out of his hand as quickly as he can, which again, what does that tell me? Lockett is the quick twitch athlete who can get open in a heartbeat. You know, Lockett is the precise missile that knocks out your communications. DK is the goddamn bomb that just blows a fucking hole in your city. All right? Boom.
Yeah.
I got to stop the bomb that can blow. And look it, coaches are human beings. They're watching the tape. What do you see? DK Metcalf catching passes, running, beating everyone to the sideline and scoring down. So what do? You got to stop them. So that should now look it might not work that way. That's fantasy football. But if I'm in the Bills defensive game room, I am saying I've got to slow down DK Metcalf. And I'll deal with Lockett. Well, because Lockett beats you with precision and skill. DK Metcalf just punches you in the goddamn face and says, what you going to do about it?
Right.
I'd rather lose against skill and precision. That's just so I'm on Lockett this week. And there's a salary savings. There's a big one, I think. Let's see. DK 7,800, $1,000. Yeah. So that to me is, I'll take that $1,000 savings.
No, yeah, I love that. I think you're exactly right. And I don't know how they're going to run it, but I don't know if Teron Johnson is going to be on Lockett. Right now I have pulled up, by the way, the Roto Baller cornerback and wide receiver matchup. But I mean, dude, I think Lockett is going to pop. And this is what we know, from looking at what you said, a kind of a generational experience right now with Russell Wilson, really, is that he has weapons. He has targeted guys, precision. I mean, some of those passes a couple weeks ago to Tyler Lockett in the back of the end zone, I'm just like you said, you couldn't go to sleep. I'm talking on the phone to my best friend Mike. He runs the fantasy football, Fantasy Millionaires with me. He's my guy. We're just like, oh shit! It's incredible. These guys are two of the best athletes. DK is another one of them. So I wouldn't be surprised if Lockett gets touchdown. Maybe DK does too. But either way, Russell Wilson's your guy. You're cashing in. You still have some shares in those other players who are gonna potentially get touchdowns, which I like too with Russell Wilson. So great stack. The edge is on you for right now, for sure. I went with Diggs. This secondary is porous, and right now that's saying it nicely. Now, they've got Quentin Dunbar on Diggs, and Quentin Dunbar was good before he was hanging out with in South Florida or wherever. I don't know. And we played for the Washington football team when they were the aforementioned name we're not going to mention. But now he's giving up 23.7 fantasy points per game. That's awesome. I mean, in our sense, that's awesome. In a sense for coaching, it's terrible. Your coach is like, no, opposite. So we'll see if there's a shadow of what goes on. But in general, they're not very good. I like all of the Bills receivers this week to kind of have value, especially in GPPs. Man, play some Bills. There can be some crazy throws Josh Allen does just to get back in the game. And it's 60 degrees, everybody. It's a beautiful week. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's like last week we had to go through like the shittiest of weeks, and then finally, just like today, I look at it's broken. It's it's no more wind, no more bullshit. It's just nice and sunny and perfect weather for Sunday.
Here's how bad Seattle is. Yeah, against opposing receivers, they surrender on the season 57 points a game. Well, I love these two. I obviously thought about them at length. I mean, there's no question. It's got to be on your list. So, I have no question. There it is. 151 receptions, 1,800 yards, and 11 touchdowns. I mean, look, he's got to be on the list. So, look, we just took different sides of the coin. That's all. But each coin is equal. They're probably the exact same salary. Wait. My two are 7 14,400. Oh my God, your two are 14,400.
Wow, I like that.
Same price.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I like your stack a little bit more than mine, just so you know. But mine has more of a GPP popping. You have more of a floor. Mine
I have a higher floor.
Right, which you do. But I was on earlier. I do a show every Saturday on the Discord for the Space Ghost, the Fantasy Football Discord, and for the Space Ghost Force. And I was revealing my lineup in the chat. We were talking about the plays, and as we talked about this, I just said this lineup is more GPP-ish. It leans a little heavy, but I got to compete against you. And so you'll see what comes next. It's how I could do what I'm going to do, because I got to have guns in this fight against you. I know you're good, man. I know you're good. I didn't hold back. So let's talk about our second wide receiver. And mine is going to be Julio Jones. Julio.
Now I know where you spent your money. I was wondering where the money went.
Yeah, I went to Julio for sure. I've got Julio. Calvin Ridley, they haven't come out completely and been honest with us about him. I don't think he plays. That's my
leaning. I don't think so either.
Yeah, I just don't think he plays. And it elevates Russell Gage, Hayden Hurst, Hill as well. But I don't think it gives us anybody more exalted than Sir Julio. And so that's why I went with Julio Jones. I love him. He is a monster. He's one of the top 7 wide receivers of all time for sure. In my opinion. Talk about Julio, what you see in him this week. Do you have any other lineups or any other builds that you've done?
I do. He's in one of my 2 builds that I post on Football Diehards. I love him too. I obviously Chase Edmonds was a little bit more pricey at the running back, and I tend to pay up for the running backs. That's just doesn't mean the build is the only way to build, but that's how I choose to most of the time. I love Julio this week. He's in my other lineup. I have 2 lineups every week that I post. Now, actually, the lineup against you is a little combination of the 2. It's not the 2 on Football Die Hard. I kind of tweaked it. I wanted to buy something a little different because it's different when you're giving advice to people than you're playing necessarily head-to-head with someone. I love Julio this week. Look it. If he scores 25, 30 points, I have no question it's within the realm of outcomes, right? The floor should be there. Every once in a while, Julio can disappoint you, but I don't think this is the spot. This shouldn't be the spot, especially with Ridley out. So the fact that Ridley's out makes me feel more secure that Julio's in a better position to smash right now. But I decided to spend on the running back more than the second receiver. So I get why you did that. I mean, look, that's a better play than my Jerry Jeudy right now.
Well, let's talk about Jerry Jeudy because I'm a fan of Scott Barrett. I like Scott Barrett a lot. I listen to the Fantasy Points podcast, Chasing Points, that he does on their new subscription service, and he tweeted out that he checked in with 3 film grinders, and I love film grinders. I love data nerds. I love everybody. Paul Howdy, just so you know. And you can be a tape grinder. It's okay. It
is okay. I mean, I don't take one side or the other. I don't. I love watching film. I do.
Me too.
But film it can be subjective. Even I have subjective analysis in film. Yes. But I think you're better if you use both. And I don't think it's a binary choice. And I think that's a shame that too many people want to say one is better than the other. Look, you know what I'm looking for? The film to match the numbers. Then I'm in a good boat.
Yes.
I don't like a discrepancy between whether, here's a quick story. I tell my students all the time.
Indulge.
I'm lucky enough to teach AP in an urban environment. And I'm a geek, so I've studied standard, and I started teaching in the height of standardized test taking, No Child Left Behind. So I studied standardized test taking. I studied results. I studied it. And one of the things that I came in my research, urban students fail the AP exam at a very high rate. but they get A's and B's in the class. That doesn't mesh. That's, what is happening. And what I tell my students this all the time, because I teach, I'm lucky. I get to teach AP, I'm lucky. And I say, I'd rather have you get a C+ in here and pass the exam with a 3. You need a 3, 4, 5 is a passing grade, for those who don't know. Than for me to give you an A and for you to get a 1 on the exam, which is the lowest score. Because then the college doesn't know what they're getting.
Yeah.
If you are a B- student, that means 2 things. The teacher had standards and you worked hard to get that.
Yeah.
And 2, you proved it by passing the AP exam.
Yeah.
You cannot, I tell the students this all the time, you can't get an A in the class and a 1 on the exam because the college doesn't know what they're getting. Who are you?
Who are you?
So, right, so I use that, and it's so important for young people to understand this. I always preach the journey is more important than anything else. Look, this class is hard. You're a smart young person, but if you get a B- for your first time, that's okay. I still have a student who has graduated USC. She is in her master's program, and she will tease me when she comes to visit. You're the only teacher who gave me a B+ in high school. And I said, you know what? Because I did what's right. Now, that was only first marking period of her junior year, and she got A- as an A. But I would not waver. And she's still like, but I said, you have a degree from USC. I wrote your letter of recommendation, and now you're in grad school. So you know what? I'm proud of giving you that B+. So it is, but it's okay, right? I got lots. I tell this other story out. One more and I'm done. I had a professor in college I loved. I got B's from him. I learned more from him than I ever did from classes I got an A in. I can't even tell you the name of the teacher or the class. It was a comedy act. But he was so good that I remember every book he ever assigned. I remember what I learned, and I only got a B. And you know what? I never once walked away and said he was unfair. Never once. He had standards, and I couldn't do it, and that's okay. But I learned. And ultimately, that's what the journey should be about.
Oh, yeah.
It should, too many people are obsessed with the A. Hey, I'll give you an A from a freshman class. I don't even know who taught it, my friend. Right. Don't even know the name of the professor. But I can tell you every class I took with Dr. Detson, and I never got above a B.
You know what? I love that. I'm gonna piggyback. My guy Chase, over there at Chase Vernon says this wouldn't be Scott Simpson show without stories. Well, normally he's assaulting me and my storytelling. I'll tell a quick story. I reconnected with one of my professors at my junior college I went to, Montgomery College here in Montgomery County. His name is Lee Annis. He still works there. He wrote my recommendation to go to University of Maryland, and I got an F on the first assignment that he put forth, and then ever since then I got an A. And I went back for the second semester of his U.S. history class. He came in with a huge Diet Coke. It was like a 48-ounce Diet Coke. He walked in. He goes, "My name is Lee Annis. My wife just left me, and I quit drinking. 1407, the first expedition can be discovered on the." You're like, oh my God, is this guy for? No, he would just talk for an hour and 50 minutes. Not if you didn't take notes, you were shit out of luck. First day, I was like, this guy's great, and then the next day, he was like, you're getting a quiz every day. I was like, oh no. And by the end, though, second semester, I was back in his class. He walked in, he goes, "Jesse." I said, okay, I like that. Little behind the scenes. Just so you guys know. Yeah, I'll give you behind the scenes. My middle name is Scott, and I go by Scott. Oh. But back in the day, it was Jesse in the olden times. And so, he looked at me and said, "Jesse," and everyone looked at me like, you're 19, 18, whatever it is. People were like, how does this old creepy guy know this fat guy? Like, what's going on here? Are these guys, commiserating? And no, I listened and I learned because I was challenged. And here's the big picture about all of this. We can learn from tape grinders. We can learn from fantasy experts. We can learn from guys who are just thinking, guys who are just going, hey, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? And it all sharpens us. And so Scott Barrett tweeted out, long segue to get back, because that's what teachers do. We go about in segues. Scott Barrett tweeted out that 3 of the tape grinders that he talks to all talk that Jerry Jeudy is one of the best route runners ever this year, like killing it, and he is getting visibly frustrated. Another call back to Hollywood doing that kind of this week. John Laub coming out going, oh yeah, we're gonna give him the ball, But that is Jerry Jeudy. He is precise, and Locke is not getting him the ball, but it's going to change. You got to think that they're seeing the same things we're seeing if they're studying it, and that's eventually going to change. And one of these weeks, he's going to win somebody $1 million. Like, he is going to go. He's going to go off the chain. And so I love that you have him. That is a great shot for the moon. You did what I did a little bit later with some of my plays. It's more of a tournament play. I love it. I love it. Talk about Jeudy. Yeah, talk about Jeudy.
So here's where the numbers and just 40 years of football love conflict. I'm a Bronco fan. You can see my blanket behind me. I've liked the Broncos since 1977. But that has nothing to do with this pick. But the point is, I watch the Broncos on a regular basis, and Judy's open. Jeudy is open. Like, I've had him on a dynasty team since he came out of high school. I've been watching him play for 4 years, 3 years at Alabama and now at Denver. He is open. The difference is the Alabama quarterbacks can get him the goddamn ball. Yeah. And here's the evidence. Scotty had 10 targets last week, 4 catches. Jeudy does not drop the ball. I mean, maybe everyone, right? This is not because Jeudy is doing something. It's because they can't get him the goddamn ball. Now, if some fat guy in Connecticut knows this,
right.
I know the Denver coaching staff know. They better know it, or they are just not good coaches. So then it's a matter of convincing Locke. You see it, you throw it, and you trust Jeudy to be there. So what's happening, I think, from years of football, Locke doesn't trust the read, and he doesn't believe that Judy's going to be there. When you saw him in Alabama, Tua would literally throw the ball when Jeudy is covered before he makes his break. Because Tua, they coach him up so well, and they guarantee their people that Judy's going to be there. You throw the goddamn ball to the spot, young man.
Yeah.
And Jeudy was there. Drew Lock right now is waiting. Yeah. He's waiting. You don't wait on route runners to get open. You trust route runners will be open. And right now, Drew Lock is not making that mental connection.
Yeah.
He's got to say, this is a 12-yard out, and Judy's going to be there.
Yeah. Well,
and he's not doing it.
Well, here's the thing for him, and not to defend Drew Lock, I would just say this.
I'm indifferent. I'm neutral right now.
No, I agree. I'm not defending a guy. I would say, too, he hasn't had enough reps with him because
he hasn't. That's the problem.
That's he needs more, and maybe this week is the week that he gets it. So I like it. Let's see where we go for our wide receiver 3. Ooh, I did consider him. You have a lot of the guys I did consider. You've got Mr. Mooney, not Paul Mooney from the Dave Chappelle Show, which is on Netflix, and that is does it talk to a black guy or a black guy answers question or whatever? I love that, by the way. Paul Mooney, one of my favorite all-time African American comedians, just sharp as a knife. Oh my gosh, what a guy! But it's a different Mooney. Talk about a Bears rookie who's come on the last couple of weeks and really stood out in that offense.
First, I'll tell you this. I'm obviously shocked at how well he's played. Now, I had seen him at Tulane. I'm a UConn football season ticket holder. I love the American Athletic Conference. I saw a lot of Mooney at Tulane. Now, if you had told me that he could ascend this quickly to being this productive a player, I would have said no. I thought he was, give him time to grow. He's a speedster. He's got good athletic ability. But he's a project, all right? But I'll admit when I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Then I've been watching him. Scott, last week, Darnell Mooney was on the field 93% of snaps.
That's a lot, right?
You know what that tells me? The coaching staff trusts him. 93. Allen Robinson was 97. Darnell Mooney was 93. Anthony Miller, who I like, was 76. Darnell Mooney's their second receiver. That's just the facts right now. You can deny it. You might not want to believe it, but he's on the snaps 93. It's true. What?
I'll say it's true. It's true.
It is.
Yeah.
Now, Mooney had 6 targets. Now, I think this is an anomaly. Anthony Miller had 11. But that was game script, matchups, and he was hot. I don't think that Anthony Miller he's got a tougher matchup. Yeah. I don't think he gets 11 targets. So what does that tell me? Let's say he gets 5. Well, Mooney might get 3 more. Allen Robinson might get 3 more. I'll take the shot of anyone on the field over 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Who might get 10 targets. And then I look closer at the numbers. Scott, 17.9, 7.6, 4.3.9. I'm not paying a lot. I need 3 times investment. I need 12 points. That's it. So I said, and I want to chase Edmonds. So if I'm going to get 2 higher price running backs, I've got to save money somewhere and take my, no pun intended, money shot. So I took Darnell Mooney, baby.
Dude, I love it, man. I got to say, every week I come out here and every week I tell the guests, like, this is my favorite show. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna lie, this is one of my favorite shows. So I love that pick. He is definitely in some of my builds as well. And I just like the game script here. I feel like they're going to have to pass the ball because I think that there's going to be some running of the football. That's what I think is going to happen in this game. So, yeah. Yes.
Plus, Tennessee's not good on the back end. Tennessee's not good in the secondary.
No, they're not. They're not at all. Well, speaking of that, let's jump down and I like what you have here. You have Jonnu Smith. Jonnu was in my lineup as well. Yeah, it's interesting. We were flirting with some of the same girls, dancing with some of the same dates, and end up going home with different people. But I went with Noah Fant and against the Atlanta defense that does give up significant pointage to the tight end. You are Jonnu Smith, who has been struggling, but who has a 20-point upside every time. Talk to me about that.
So Fant was on my list also, but once I decided Judy, and this is cash game, not a GPP, I'm not stacking. There's no way I'm going to take 2 Bronco receivers. So obviously, once I decided Judy was locked and loaded, I have to find another tight end.
Yeah.
I took this because of the ceiling. Yeah. I said, look, Scott's smart. He's a great competitor. If I'm going to have a shot at here, I need a tight end with the ceiling. I don't care about 4. Like when I play tight ends, I literally don't care about 4. And that might sound crazy, but I don't. I want ceiling. And here it is. 21 points against Buffalo, 24 points against Jacksonville, 13 against Denver. He's been stone cold. I actually hoped that you wouldn't be on him because I figured the ownership's going to be low. So I got low ownership in a good matchup because the narrative is negative now. It's Corey Davis. It's obviously A.J. Brown. It's Derrick Henry. Oh my God, Jonnu Smith's costing me my weekly leagues. Oh my God, he's a bum. You know what? Give me all. Come on, trade him. What do you want? Come on. So I'll take the ceiling here that Jonnu bounces back in this matchup.
Yeah, no, I liked it, and I did forget to talk about my wide receiver 3 because I'm just so excited to talk about tight ends. But I will come back to Marvin Jones Jr. in a minute. But the Noah Fant pick for me is it's a Jerry Jeudy or Noah Fant in this game. I do want a piece of this, and so like you said, since you did have Jeudy, you weren't going to have Fant. It was between Fant and Jonnu. I actually put Jonnu in my original build. I got Mooney in my original build too, and then I had to pivot because I wanted to get in Julio. That kind of was where I was messing around, and I figured out how I could do that. But I like Noah Fant or Jeudy. There's going to be some bust out in this game. Drew Lock is not efficient. He's not great, but Noah Fant's big enough that maybe you can't miss him. That's my kind of hope. But real quick, go ahead.
No, he's run after the catch. It doesn't matter. If Fant is in the open field and Locke can just find him 4 yards, Fant is such an athletic freak. He can get a 40-yard reception on a 5-yard pass.
Yeah. I think Pete Overzet calls that a grown-ass man.
He is a grown-ass man.
Yeah, grown-ass man. Yeah, grown-ass man. Totally. And so I went with, my third wide receiver was Marvin Jones, and that's just on pure upside, hoping that he strikes. They could go anywhere in that offense. I think Hawkinson's a play as well at tight end. If you want a piece of that game, I do see kind of Minnesota running all over them, and then Detroit's got to kind of pass to get back in. Wouldn't be surprised if it's one of those like 28-21 games or 24 games where Minnesota wins. But Detroit has got to get, something going, and maybe Marvin Jones gets one, behind the secondary. It's my kind of GPP play upside as well, going with your Mooney upside. So I'm doing the same thing too. I'm kind of looking for those shots where I've got a lot of value. If Marvin Jones gets 15, points, I've 3 times cashed. I'm good. So
good news, Scott. It looks like Matthew Stafford will play. He's been quarantined. He did not test positive. Now he has to go tomorrow morning. He's going to get tested again. But if he clears, he plays. And it looks I would say 85%. Now, ironically, in my other lineup, my friend, I have Jones and Julio. So I like those 2 plays. I just chose against you a different way to go. But I like both those. I like Jones too. I actually spoke about him on my cash game show with my partner Emil at Football Diehards. Jones is one of my sleepers. So I love the upside there.
Excellent. I appreciate it. I think I'm still giving you the edge because of the Russell Wilson to Lockett potential, for sure. But we're close. I mean,
dude.
It's good. Yeah. I think you're going to jump ahead though, because you talked about before, foreshadowing when I talked about Justin Jackson. I remembered. See, teachers remember. We're paying attention. It's hard to sneak one past the old Scottaroo, but we'll see. Maybe not. Let's just break it down for the last bits here and pieces. Oh yeah, you got the Justin Jackson in there. Such a good value at 4,900. Talk about what you see in him this week as your flex.
Scott, I never feel sorry for human beings, especially human beings who make millions. But I'm starting to feel sorry for Anthony Lynn. Could there be a worse defense? They cannot hold a lead. I can't, it's been 2 years. I want to laugh. It's so bad. I watched it. There is no way Denver should have came back and win that game. But they did. But that's just a whole nother story. But here is the last 3 games of Justin Jackson.
Yeah.
17.2, 10.5, 14.4. But you know what that makes that so amazing? He has no touchdowns. Touchdowns are fickle, my friend. Yeah. If you give him a touchdown in any of these 3 games, 23, 16, and 20 points.
Yeah.
Justin Jackson's going in the end zone eventually. Eventually. I'm saying somewhere. And he's number one back. We're getting a starting running back on a good team in a high over-under. Yeah. And he's clearly the best runner. And I love these targets, Scott. 5, 6, 6. I can't pass up for 4,900.
No, and I couldn't either as my RB2. I mean, he's just such a great value this week. I love him. I love him so much. And I like that you love him. I went with, and I told you I was going upside with more of a tournament build kind of overall.
Because that's a tournament build.
Yeah. And I have Gabriel Davis against, if we go to the cheat sheet, and we're looking here, this is the, who's going to be up against who. I know that Gabriel Davis isn't even on the map, right? You don't even see him here. But he's not even on the map, right? I'm not even going to pretend. But that's what happens when you're going for upside here. He has been on the map. He actually caught the first touchdown this year, so I know that he has value in this offense, and it's a dart throw. But I think this game is going to shoot, and so I want some piece of this shootout, and I think Gabriel Davis does have that potential. I might feature him in one of my other GPP plays this week, maybe the Million Maker tomorrow. We'll see.
Here, Scott. Here's a useless anecdote. In 2008, UCF came up to the Rent in Connecticut, and Gabriel Davis had 90 yards and a touchdown against the Huskies. I'll never forget. And UCF killed us in that game. But Gabriel Davis was always a prospect. Now, again, he's like Darnell Mooney. He succeeded a lot faster than I expected. Yeah. But the Bills liked him. They put draft capital into him.
Yes, they did.
Yes. So I actually saw him live. And I've always he's in the back, one of those. But there's so many good receivers, my friend. The college football is loaded. But look, he's a home run play. Hey, if he catches a 40-yard touchdown, you're gold, dude.
I need it. I need it against you. Listen, this is my desperation. Let's wrap up our defenses and then talk about what we see here. Our last play. Vikings at 2,400, Cardinals at 2,900. Let's start over with you with Arizona. You mentioned it earlier. You've got Chase Edmonds, a rookie quarterback coming a game. He scored 7 points last week, by the way, guys.
7 points.
It's just a 7.34, something terrible. Like
awful.
Mitchell Trubisky level awful, right? So talk about this. I love your play, by the way.
I believe in the correlation. I would say I do it 90% of the time. Sometimes just you have a great defense and they're a passing game. But I would say most of the time I like the correlation play with the running back and the defense. Again, I believe Miami is in for a classic letdown game here. They're on the road. I have a feeling Tua could do a pick six here. The Cardinals defense, if you haven't seen it, Bubba Baker is goddamn sick. He has real big boy pants on. If you have not been watching how the Cardinals employ Bubba Baker, I'm telling you right now, he's going to sack Tua and return it himself or a teammate for a touchdown. Look, they are going to look at. I'm old school. If I have a rookie quarterback, dude, I'm blitzing the shit out of him until he proves me he can beat me. The Cardinals should bring the house against Tua. And if you watch that film and not get bamboozled by all the other things the Dolphins did, he's going to get hurt by Arizona in this game on defense. Hey, maybe the Dolphins go out and win. That's why we played the games, my friend. But this, to me, a rookie quarterback on the road, I love this. The Dolphins believe they are going to win the AFC East. And you know what happens? Your ego comes right down. Yeah. So I like the correlation here.
You know what? I went in my mind to a little. I don't know if you messed with Radiohead back in the day, but I went to Let Down and Hanging Around. That's what I agree with you. I'm not with Chase. Chase is jumping in the comments. Love you, Chase. I kind of agree with you on this one. It's a good play. I went with the same thing you did. I stacked Dalvin Cook with the Vikings. I know that Matt Stafford's going to be there. I think this game they do come from behind, but you saw last week Matt Stafford without COVID threw a pick six. And so, I know he's not going to be doing that again, but I think this is going to be a game that it's going to be a wild one. And so I could see a defensive touchdown being scored by the Vikings, and they've been much maligned. They've sucked, and for me, I always look for a defense each week in that 25 to 2,400 range, 2,300 at the time. Sometimes that you can just kind of exploit. I think this is a nice one. I think you could do that. So I'm gonna wrap us up, and you can wrap us up as well. We'll do a few wraps here, but I'm gonna give you an 8-point margin right now. I do like your team, particularly Justin Jackson as your third RB. You've got 3 RBs. My flex is more of a long shot. I got the Julio factor, but I'm going to give you that. What do you think? Is that a fair line? Where's your line?
I was going to say I'm a 4.5-point favorite.
Okay.
So you're very kind. I think the Julio factor is fascinating, but I'll tell you this. The hardest part to assess is Gabriel Davis because the floor is low, but the ceiling's high. Like, that is something that's hard to assess. The range of outcomes for Gabriel Davis. Look, if you got the 60-yard touchdown from Josh Allen while he's scrambling, you're gold, dude.
Right.
You're gold. Like this, and I mean, is that a 5% chance? I don't know. Like how, but that's the X factor.
That's the sweat. That's the sweat. Yeah,
that's the play.
The sweat is you come back from on red zone and Scott Hansen he goes, we're going to go to Buffalo, and they're on the 30, and you're like, no, oh no. And they're like, Josh Allen, he's almost back. Oh, he's out of the way. Oh, he throws it. Gabriel Davis. And then you're like,
yes.
Yeah. It makes sense, Well, I like it. I do have you favored here. I mean, here's the thing about all of this. I mean, I think I'm honestly favored because I get to hang out with you on a Saturday night, drink beers, which I didn't have enough of, obviously, because I was out after about the 30-minute mark. We get to talk fantasy football. We get to be educators and, just and do it for fun. Do it for what we love as fantasy football people. Tell people real quick before we get out of here, where can they check you out? Where can they find your work and what you're doing every week?
Sure, absolutely. Please go to footballdiehards.com. I've been with Emil Cadillac and Bob Harris since 1997. So that's how long I've been working with these two gentlemen. Right now, I have a weekly show. It's called The Line of Scrimmage. It's on Saturday night at 7 o'clock. So I already recorded it. You can check that out. And Emil and I do a DFS show. Short. We don't do a full lineup, but it gives you some ideas of what we're playing, what we think about the slate. And then my sheet of knowledge, which is top shelf investments, value plays, fading plays, and some sample lineups that I'm playing. In what I do, so I don't ever want to mislead a reader, I play every lineup that I post. Yeah. And then I post it on Twitter Sunday night. So no one say that I'm lying to them. No one can, when I lose, you see I suck. When I win. But I'm never giving you plays or anything that I don't believe in. And I prove it by posting the results. I'm having a good year. Doesn't mean I'm always been good. But you can go check that out all on footballdiehards.com.
I love that. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on the DFS Money Shot. This is one of my favorite things I get to do each week. I get to bring on a new guest. I get to learn. I get to hear about perspectives, gain more of a perspective myself and listen to people's knowledge. It's awesome. Thank you so much. You can find me, Scott Simpson, at NimbleWNumbers on Twitter, NimbleWNumbers.com. I got a guy named Bo McBigtime who just crushes it with DFS. Please check him out and the work he does. Buy his hot box brand hot sauce. It is ridiculous. I eat it on everything. If you're a foodie and you like hot stuff, it's just the bomb.
Oh, I love food, dude. It's the best.
Man. Let me just tell you, here's what I do. And Scott Fish endorses this shit. This is good. Scott Fish loves this. I'm not speaking for him. I just was on the tweet DMs because I was pumping it, and Scott's like, I like that shit. What is that? And Bo McBig Time was like, this is my shit. This is the best shit. And it is. Here's what I did today. I'll tell you how I like to roll. Today, I put my wings that were seasoned at some event. They put some regular barbecue sauce on them. Nothing much, just kind of whatever. I put bows all over them. I drenched them in the bows. And this is hot. This is a 300,000 Scoville hot sauce here, all over them, front and back. Cook those bad boys up again, and they were just delicious. I mean, delicious. I stood at the counter and ate them. I didn't even leave. I took them out of the oven, waited next to them for like a couple minutes. I was just like, damn, come on, get cool. Come on. Nope, I'm going to go. I started eating them. Just at the and right, lick the fingers right to the sink with the elbow, and then I didn't even leave the kitchen. It was that good. Bo's hot sauce. It's called Hot Box. Go to hotboxbatch.com. That is the shit. You know what? If you beat me, I will have Bo send you one. I will buy you one and have it sent to you, my friend. You don't run it back or anything. If you be, this is my gift because if you like that. I put on eggs. I put it on my sandwich.
I love hot sauce, dude.
You go a little bit chili, whatever, man. Like you look like a guy who enjoys, having some good food, nachos. It's the bomb. Check it out. Thank you, John, for coming on. Appreciate it. You're the man. And this is the DFS Money Shot. Check us out every Saturday night. Peace. We're out.